Okay. Go.
This is Brian Gill with Gillware Data Recovery, Digital Forensics, and Incident Response. I'm here with the illustrious Jeff Smith on Vroom, Vroom, Veer.
And you didn't screw up at all. That's okay.
Yeah, and I did not screw it up at all. I am the man.
You are the man. and it looks like you're sitting in your hunting camp. I love it.
Yeah, my ceiling would suggest that I'm a manly hunter, and my shirt.
Yeah, you got flannel and there's wood everywhere. I love it.
Yeah, but I am
not a hunter. Just look like one. All right.
I look like one, but I do not shoot things.
That's okay. It's all right. We'll forgive you. I am a buckless youper, so it's all good. I'm gonna hit stop. I'll be right back.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom Vroom Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Brandy Thomas, thank you so much for being on Vroom Vroom Veer, and welcome to the show. How's it going?
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I feel like it's been forever since we last spoke.
It's been forever. I know. Yes, and the people, I've known Brandy. I don't even remember how we met, so let's talk about that later.
I don't either. I was trying to think of it earlier. I was like, were we just like Facebook friends? And then
I think we were both in that Podcaster's Paradise. Maybe it seems like there was a John Lee Dumas connection.
That's what I was the designer for Entrepreneur on Fire.
That's why.
Like 5 years.
That's why. Yeah. That's why.
Yeah.
So there you were in the space, and I was like, "Oh, she sounds cool. Let's talk to her." Yes. Okay. So you are Brandy Thomas. You're at Mile One Creative, and you've got tons of stuff going on, including comedy and podcasts and lots of stuff. So take a brief moment to talk about everything going on in the wonderful world of Brandy Thomas.
Well, okay, so I have my design business, which is Mile One Creative. We do graphic design, web design, marketing, all that kind of fun stuff. You can actually find more at mileonecreative.com.
Right.
And I work with a variety of industries, people all over the country. And then I also, I do stand-up comedy. Been doing that for 5 years. I host a show. It is scary. It is. It's bad. I wouldn't recommend it. I host a show in Queens called The Last Call Comedy Show. So, and we do that every weekend. I'm only there like once a month, but it goes on every weekend. Okay. So, and then I also have 2 podcasts.
Two podcasts. Wow.
2 podcasts. I'm exhausted. Yeah. One's called Comedians for Hire, where we interview comedians about all the crazy day jobs that they have and side hustles just so that they can do comedy.
Right.
It's really funny.
It's fun though. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of fun on the show, but
it's like being on hanging out with comedians when they're just being themselves. Right. They're not doing bits necessarily, which is awesome.
Kind of. There's a lot of comedians.
There's some people that are always doing bits. Okay.
Right.
That's all right.
I
get it.
I would say you fall in that category.
Me? I'm not always doing bits. Maybe.
I'm joking.
I'm not a comedian.
You could be. I think you're on your way.
I could be, but I don't think I want to. But we can talk more. Talk more about that later. Okay, so let's go back in time. This is Vroom Vroom Veer. So the deal is, it's sort of like This Is Your Life, Brandy, right?
Fun, yeah.
Yeah. So where did you grow up?
So I grew up in a town called Round Rock, Texas, which is a suburb of Austin. So, and it was named, there was actually a very round rock in a lake nearby.
This is funny because my buddy who I met, I think he's originally from the Midwest somewhere, but when I knew him, he lived in Phoenix forever. And he just recently, like this year, moved to somewhere, not Round Rock, but they were looking at housing at Round Rock. I looked at the Round Rock on the internet.
That's all that town has going for it is that
round
big
rock.
ass rock. Yeah.
Okay. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And this was before Austin was cool.
Yeah, well, I think it was a different kind of cool. It was like hippie cool, you know?
Okay,
I mean,
right.
we
Before
had a
everybody
homeless
showed up.
guy. Yeah, we had a homeless naked man named Leslie who ran for mayor and
Lovely.
almost won. Yeah.
Did he just he was rocking the naked like 24/7?
All the time. All the time.
Nice.
I mean, sometimes he like wore a thong. It was a lot of fun.
All right.
Yeah, so I think
So the
he has
round
since,
rock Gandhi, basically.
I mean, okay, so and I want to clarify here, Round Rock was not nearly and still isn't nearly as cool as Austin. Round
Okay.
Rocks were like, you know,
It's
you
a
go and
suburb.
build a family.
Right.
Yeah.
Where the housing is cheap. Yes. Gotcha.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I grew up in Round Rock, and then I moved all over the place. I moved to Germany when I was 13.
Awesome.
It was at the age of 13 wasn't so awesome.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
It was. I mean, I went back.
Well,
as I got
13
older.
kind of blows any time all
That's
the
what
time.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know,
So
just having to like
just to
uproot
have
your
the,
life.
yeah.
and,
Okay. I can
you
see
know.
where that would suck.
Yeah. Yeah. So I ended up
Germany
going back
is
when I was in my 20s.
is awesome though.
Oh, Germany's amazing. And
Yes.
I think I didn't appreciate it at the time.
Well,
As I
yeah.
got older, I did, you know, but I was just like, oh, my boyfriend, I miss him.
Yeah, I think about 13 and it's just trauma.
Exactly. We never want to go back.
What is it? 8th grade, I guess? 8th or 9th grade?
8th grade, yeah.
8th grade.
Yeah.
Yuck. It's like you're learning how to punch other boys hard. That's survival, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, if I do my knuckle like this, they'll leave me alone.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, it's different for girls, I'm sure.
Yeah. We had to learn how to like emotionally traumatize each other. That was that's when I started learning that. You know?
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
So, yep. So I lived in Germany. I only lived there for about 6 months, moved back to Texas, moved to Connecticut.
How did you live in Germany? Was that like a dad work thing or?
Yeah. So my dad, he's a chemical engineer, and
fun.
For some reason he does. I still don't know what he actually does, and I haven't since I was a kid.
Chemical engineers do a lot of crazy shit. I've got a buddy who's a chemical engineer, and he sort of fell into battery world. But chemicals are everywhere.
Right. Yes, they are. Well, and I know.
Yeah.
My dad. I remember. When I was a kid, I would find a lot of spreadsheets and pictures of computer chips, like X-rays of computer chips. So I think he does something with computer chips, but there's what he specifically does. There's only like 2 or 3 people in the country that can do it, or something crazy like that.
Wonky.
And so we have had to move.
He's got the skills
everywhere he's needed. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's like no other choice. And so we had to move to Connecticut.
And he's a gig worker. 6 months. Goes in, does his shit, bam, he's done.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's still like with a big, you know, the same company or whatever,
Right.
but yeah, they'll send him places where it's needed.
Right.
So
big
we
brain.
lived in,
Check out the big brain on dad. All right.
Right.
Nice.
I didn't get it. That went to my sister. Yeah. No. So we moved a ton. I moved back and forth between Connecticut and Texas throughout high school 4 times.
Wow.
So like we would move to Connecticut, then back to Texas, and then back to Connecticut, and then back
and
to
this is all while you're a kid.
While I'm a kid, while I was in high school, yeah.
Wow.
So
that's both good and bad, I think.
Yeah,
like many things.
A lot of weed.
Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you do? You know, like you have no friends if you move that much, and so you just navigate to all the other kids who don't have friends, and they all smoke a lot of weed. So
it worked out.
It did. It did. Yeah.
That's a lot of. See, I from the kid that like I was born and raised in Upper Peninsula, Michigan. It's like frozen tundra. You know, it's like 50 miles north of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So it's like, ugh. But I mean, it's like just when I got to 18 and, you know, this recruiter for the Air Force was like, you can leave.
Really?
Exactly. I was like, I like where we're going, you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah. So it didn't take much sales or persuasion.
Yeah.
I think he had me at, you can leave.
Yeah. Well, and I do think going back to that was the benefit of moving so much is that I became very adaptable, you know, like throughout my adulthood, and it kind of
traumatic at the time.
Yeah.
That's the suck is, you just become this like, I don't know, whatever, high schooler person who is self-loathing and smoking weed. But
that's funny.
The adult you is better for it, I think. Probably.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I being exposed, Texas, I don't like Texas. I liked it when I was a kid, but now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, that's a terrible place. And mainly, I mean, to each his own.
It's a
There's
good,
people
good
who love
place
Texas.
to visit, like I said.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I
wouldn't
have
want
found
my tax
that people,
home there.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I have found though that the people in Texas, a lot of them haven't, because Texas is so big. It takes like 5 hours just to get out of it.
Yep.
So a lot of people haven't explored other places.
Right.
So you kind of are surrounded by a lot of sort of closed-minded types, But
I mean, that's like a lot of people. It's not just Texas.
Right. Yeah.
I think growing up in a small town for me, and even I think I was in like my 10th year of marriage. So that was probably my 13th, 14th year of Air Force service. Even up until then, I always assumed when I got out, I would go back home. Right? Because at that point, I hadn't gotten the belief in my brain that I could like make it anywhere kind of, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So like, I think small town upbringing just has like a gravitational pull to it.
That's an interesting, that's an interesting way to think about it, is that it's maybe not necessarily a choice, but just like a psychological thing.
It is. It's just it's like, who the hell am I? You just grow up thinking, who the hell am I? It's everybody thinks that. Where I grew up is like, every time you try to like show or do something, right, there's about 10 people there to beat you down, to say, who the hell do you think you are?
Yes. That's what I grew up with too.
Yeah.
And it's still like that. As an adult, there's this weird thing about like, if you talk about your dreams or talk about wanting to explore, there's almost this sort of resentment. Like, like,
it's more about their stuff.
Would you?
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
For sure. So, at the time it was terrible, but I'm grateful now that I'm older. I've always said that I want to die very exhausted. Like at the end of my life, I want to be like, I just want to fall to sleep out of pure exhaustion,
just exhausted
and
death.
just die. Yeah. That's basically it. And
I like that.
I'm almost 30 now. And I'm like, I could die now and I'd be fine. Like, I'm so exhausted now. I'm like, I think I'd be okay.
Now, I think you might classify yourself as a type A personality, maybe. It's like you just need stuff to do to keep you happy, engaged, interested.
Okay, so a type A, that would be an extrovert, right?
No, it's just means
like
most like entrepreneurs are type A. You just
get bored easily.
You get bored easily. It's like, you most CEOs, right? And people that want to go out there and change the world, that's type A, right? They just need to do shit.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
It's the best, but it's so bad too. It's so
when
bad for your mental health.
when we first met, I was trying to, figure out a way to do, I'm going to put it in air quotes, business, right? Mm-hmm. But to me, always on the inside, what I meant was, I don't want to do jack shit, but I want people to give me money for doing very little. That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
So you're a true-blooded entrepreneur.
No, I'm not. Not at all.
Like, in my mind, that's why I stopped working with entrepreneurs. And that's why I'm like,
No, I think of myself as really type B. I want to do less. Mm-hmm. I literally want to do less. Yeah. I don't want to ever be exhausted. Never, ever, Like if I,
each his own.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, I just had to discover that about me. Mm-hmm. So when I did, I was like, oh, okay. Well, now I know. I should stop. I just went out and got another job. Yeah.
Well, and who knows? That could be around the corner for me too. It's very possible that I've spent all this time thinking that I want to do all this shit, and then I'm just going to be like, I'm good. Like I'm almost at that level. I do feel like it's funny. As I've gotten older, I was thinking about this the other day. When in my early 20s, I had so much like naive hopefulness.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? Like
yes.
where you're like, you got starry eyes and you're like, oh, I can change the world.
You haven't beaten down yet. Yes.
Well, now I have.
Now you have.
I'm like, it's gone. Like, I'm just
gone.
like, the world is fine. I will just be over here watching,
Yes.
But I think it's sort of like, as you get older, when you're a kid, you have a lot of imagination. And so then as you get older, it kind of dies down. And I think you go through like another stage in your 20s where that imagination kind of comes back, but it comes back in a different form. You sort of realize what you can do with that imagination.
Right.
And you can actually put it into action. So you go through all these years of like hustling and like, I'm going to do all this amazing stuff. And then after enough disappointment, you're like, oh, that's hard. I just need to chill.
It's super hard. It's super.
Yeah.
I think, even like when doing hard things isn't necessarily bad, but when it's linked to you having to, pay rent and eat, right? I can't handle that.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll do hard shit all day, right? For a good reason. Like when I was in the Air Force, I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
But that was not because I thought I was a good patriot or, wanting to be, I just didn't want to go to jail.
Right. Like, well, I'm here.
That's right. I signed up for this. And if I don't follow these orders, they could put me in jail.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll do it and hope I live through it and not go to jail. That was my goal, right? It worked out, but
I'm glad to hear that.
the not going to jail part, right?
Yeah.
And I did retire, so that was always awesome. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, so that means I get free breathing money every. It's okay. We'll edit that out. The little.
I think you should leave that in.
Okay, I will.
Like
it's
nice
funny.
Little transition.
Yeah. So anyway, breathing money's fun. It's truly passive income.
Right. But I know what you're saying though about like I have my co-host for my podcast. The reason we started this podcast is because she was working like a 6-figure job in fashion, living in New York City.
Wow.
Like making a whole bunch of money, traveling all over the world doing fashion. She then got laid off. And she had started doing comedy around the same time. And rather than go try to get another job, which she could have, she was working like as an executive for Victoria's Secret. She easily, I think, could have gotten something great. She started working at the Dollar Tree so that she could pursue comedy full time.
That's awesome. But the Dollar Tree's like way no stress. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And she did that. She made that choice because
it's a little money, but zero stress. Right.
Exactly. And she was willing to sacrifice security, like being able to pay rent and knowing, all that safety net that she had just to pursue her dream. And those people, I'm like, you guys are next level. I could not do that. Like I've been fortunate with my job, Mile One Creative. I kind of started it out. I had a good number of clients, and over the years, especially working with John Dumas and Entrepreneur on Fire, I've gotten some stuff from them, and I've kind of just kept my client base, and it's just gotten bigger.
That's awesome.
And so I've always had the ability to like travel and do all these cool things and still have the security of knowing that I have an income and, can take care of it.
I think I need that. I can't. When I met you, I was screwing around. Okay.
I was too, for sure.
I mean, literally screwing around. So like I had the 6-figure job. So after I retired in 2008, I had 2 jobs. So one was like not a lot of money, LA relative. And the next one was the lowest amount of 6 figures you can get. Right. So, but 6 figures. So that's pretty good. Right.
Yeah.
And I was also like doing a lot of these, what do they call them? Personal development workshops, right? And everybody's telling me, quit your job, you're not happy, right? And that's always like, yay, fun, right? Yeah, exactly. See, good sigh, good smile.
I just have so much to say about that. Keep going.
So then I did, right? So the first 3 years were just bliss because I had this free money from the government that I could get for going to college.
Right.
So I finished a bachelor's degree, and then I went to massage school just because I could. And then 3 years, and then so they pay you like a housing allowance, which is significant,
Yeah.
It was like a couple grand a month,
That's
for screwing around.
Where do I sign up? Like, what is that?
Well, you have to serve 3 years honorably after 9/11.
Gotcha.
So you'd have to go back in time.
Okay.
Real quick and then sign up.
Missed it.
damn it. Where's my time machine? But anyway, I met you after that. So I found John Lee Dumas and Podcaster's Paradise and all that stuff, like as I was working like a temp job, LAX. I think I was doing a computer migration or something like that. So, but I was like just floundering around, you know, thinking, okay, maybe I can make podcasts doing very little and make money. You know, maybe that's possible. Turns out it's not.
Right. Yeah,
you can make money on podcasts, but it's still work.
It's, oh my gosh, it is so much. And
It's
that's
so much work.
That's the interesting thing that I learned about working with John and Kate.
They work their asses off.
Oh my gosh.
They just never stop working.
They don't.
They never stop working.
They would email
and they've got
me
a ton of money. I'm like,
at 10 I know.
Take a break.
Take a break. Yeah. Like I've been wondering that their income just keeps growing. I'm like, why are you guys doing this? Yeah. But I think they love it. They enjoy it. And they've really kind of figured out a formula that works for him. But I will say that it's been interesting because a lot of the people that I have come to me from Entrepreneur on Fire to help them with design stuff, I actually kind of stopped working with entrepreneurs a while ago because like I only work with people now who have like a full business running rather than people who are like trying to get something going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you can be a startup, that's fine, but you need to have like a business plan. You need to have
funded.
An actual,
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just because I had this experience with all these people who had like quit their jobs.
Right.
You know,
yes.
And
like me,
then invested. and invested. Yeah. I mean, you're lucky because you had like the housing allowance and stuff, but these are some people quit their jobs and then invested.
And my wife was working full time too. So we were fine.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't even need that job really. I could have screwed around for forever and been fine.
God, what a life you've had.
I know.
Oh my goodness. That sounds like my husband. I've been the sugar mama for 10 years now.
That's right.
Awful. No. So I would get all these people who would come to me and they'd be like, listen, I just spent thousands of dollars on this like personal development thing.
Right.
And I did all this stuff and none of it's working. And I don't know what to do. Please help me. And I'm someone.
And you're like, design doesn't do that.
Right. Well, I mean, but I also work in marketing. And so I would like try to help them. But then, you know, inevitably
you have to have a plan.
Exactly.
A business idea.
Yes.
So when like I hired some branding people, right? And their design guy, there was a branding guy and a design guy, and they were like a husband team. Okay. And the design guy said, do you have a business idea? And I literally did this.
I just hired you because I want you to make me something pretty.
I want a brand for a podcast.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, so I got that.
But he was asking about like how you were planning to like monetize.
Right, and so after I did I did the little doggy thing. So I have to tell the audience that I did the doggy head tilt when he said that. But then I was like, oh, you know what everybody else does? Maybe advertising, maybe selling information products. And he was like, oh, okay. But I'm like, I'm not really thinking that yet because I want people to show up first, right? And he's like, oh, okay. Well, you've got kind of an idea. And I was like, okay. But yeah, that should have been a sign for me that I was doing the wrong thing.
And in your defense, and this is where like the entrepreneur world really started, like I kind of was like,
everybody's just there, just clueless.
But not even that. There's so many people, so many motivational speakers,
like Jeff Smith, like people that just think they can do nothing for money, right?
Well,
kind of.
You're not okay, but here's the thing: you're not advising people to quit their jobs. You're not telling people like you're open and honest about your mistakes. You're not saying I quit my job and then 6 months later made 6 figures. That doesn't happen. Like unless you win the lottery, you need so much work and time. Yeah. And then there's the 4-hour work week theory. Right. You know, like Tim Ferriss, and that all came out, and I was just like.
I love Tim Ferriss, but you actually have to read past the title of the book.
And I just like, I'm sorry, the title right there. I just like,
that's it. That's all I need. Okay.
Well, and I mean, the other thing that kind of, to any Tim Ferriss fans out there, I'm sorry. I warned you before coming on this podcast that I had a lot to say about entrepreneurs. Tim Ferriss comes from an extremely privileged background.
Of course.
Just throwing that out there. And so that helps a lot too, obviously.
Right.
And that's what these motivational speakers don't tell people is they don't tell people like what kind of nest egg they had starting out. So then average people like me who don't have a nest egg, they get influenced because they're sad in their life. They're stressed. Right. And they're like, oh, this guy's telling me that I can go be happy and also make a bunch of money and only have to work 4 hours a week.
Right.
Sign up, obviously.
Right. Actually, it was something that I watched from Tim that was on his defunct TV show that didn't actually go anywhere. That ended up on iTunes and I bought it, I think. So you can buy his TV show that was like 8 episodes. And he was talking to another, like, I don't know, yoga instructor or something like that, right? Him and another entrepreneur that had already successful were coaching her, saying what she needs to do and the definition of hustle, right? And it was like, no. You need to call people. You need to walk up to people and say, buy my shit. And not so many words, show up to my thing. That's what hustle is. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. And I was like, so I need to stop because basically that's what business is getting in people's faces and say, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit. Just 1,000 million times, buy my shit.
Or, because here's the thing, I've been running my business for 10 plus years and I've actually never advertised. I like help people with advertising, but I've never done it. It's all been referral based. It is all like my business. And so, yes, you do have to do that, or you can work really hard for very little money and then people will start coming to you.
Right. So have you ever heard of this lady that does Maria Popova? I can never say her name right. She's got a website called Brain Pickings.
No.
Well, she's awesome. So check out her blog. brainpickings.org, I think. Okay. And she was on Tim Ferriss's podcast. So she's got a lot of opinions like you do. I love her too. She talked about this model of, I don't want to do ads. I just want to, if an audience shows up someday and they like my shit, I'll ask them for money, like donation based, And I'm like, I would be okay with that. I would be okay with that as long as I'm not working too hard to do this.
So wait, Jeff, what are you doing now? Are you just doing this podcast?
No,
you just keep talking about how much you don't want to work.
Yeah, I have a job.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. All right. So you are working to some degree.
So a little. It's barely a job, but I do have one. Okay. And it pays well, so that's good.
Oh, God.
Easy
I hate you so much.
Telework. Yeah, it's awesome. No, I got a job for the Department of Energy. So there's like 20 government civilians-ish, 18, I think. And I'm their IT guy.
Nice.
But the rest of the IT people are in Cincinnati. Okay. And so the Nevada people are paying Cincinnati people for me to work there out of the Nevada pot of money. So the Cincinnati people don't give a shit about me. They're just happy that I'm here and I answer the phones for 3 hours after they leave because of the time zone. Yeah. And the people here, it's like literally I'm like helping my dad with computer shit. That's the level of work that I'm doing. They call me up and they don't know how to wiggle the mouse on the other side of the screen. Okay, gotcha. All right.
It's awesome. You're kind of working, but not.
I'm kind of working. I'm also doing a lot of other stuff as I'm working.
Well, and I will say this. So, and here's the differentiator here. You are at an age where I think that is like, if you want to chill, then chill. You've like earned your place in the world.
I did work my ass off for 20 years.
Exactly. I mainly have issues with people who are closer to my age
that just don't want to do jack shit. Yes.
Yeah.
You have to earn your. I'm definitely resting on some laurels, though. I'm okay with that. I think you can earn a little bit of rest.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, I still want to be nice to people and hang out and meet people, and I just don't want to be exhausted.
Yeah. And I think that's like
Fair.
I wouldn't recommend it. It's terrible.
It is. It sucks,
it's
right?
like self-sabotage, I think.
Right.
Is
Yes.
my reason that I do all this. But no, I've always kind of believed that, and it's really to each his own, like I don't want to say one lifestyle is better than the other. I really don't. But I think it's really amazing that we're all alive. I think it's really amazing that we were given this gift of life, that like we get to be here,
So
and
true.
I think that our goal as humans is to somehow make a dent in this universe, is to somehow at some point in your life do something with purpose, and whether that's helping someone or influencing, moving the wheel forward. We all got to do it together. And so I just I get frustrated by people who want things to be given to them but then are like, oh, work. Like I have found my generation.
I get it. No, I can rebel against that. Yeah. The people that just want to like eat bonbons for money. That does. Yeah. No.
Which you can actually do now, and that's what's like crazy. Like you can just create an Instagram of you eating bonbons, and people will start paying you for it. That's it's a weird world.
Have you ever watched Twitch? Twitch watcher?
My husband.
Okay.
Does video game stuff.
You're not the gamer person?
No, I play Rocket League. I'm obsessed with this game. You have
Rocket League.
Cars, and you play soccer with race cars.
Oh, fun. Okay.
It's a problem. I developed a really big problem with it.
It's a problem. So we should talk a little bit more about your life. We are, but it's like, let's get back to chronology a little bit.
Okay.
So did you do college?
So kind of. Here's the thing.
That's a good story.
I started. I was in college. I was going to school full time. I was also working as a waitress. And I randomly had this idea one day while I was still going through school, didn't have a degree yet. I was like, I don't want to be a waitress anymore. I want a job that I have to dress up for. I remember the day that it happened. I was awesome. I want a big girl job.
I want to go work in a bank.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I went and applied at a bank. I kid you not.
That's where you dress up. You have to dress up.
Yeah,
shitty job, but you have to dress up. Someone
with no college degree can still go work with heels on,
Right.
So I did that. I was still going to school full time. Then my friend started working for this marketing firm, and I was also waitressing with her. And then she got that job at the marketing firm. And I was like, well, I'm going to school for marketing. They should hire me, I don't have my degree yet, but maybe I can finagle my way in. And it turns out they needed a receptionist. So
in this marketing firm.
Yes, they needed a receptionist. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so they were really hard to get a hold of.
Foot in door.
What was that?
Foot in door. You got your foot in door. Yes.
Well, yeah, kind of. It took me about 3 months of literally harassing them. I called them every single day because it was a small marketing firm. So they were obviously really busy and they did need to hire someone, but they were also struggling to manage all their clients. And, they were in that startup world that you get in where you don't have enough limbs to do all the things. And so I just literally kept calling every single day and was like, please just give me an interview. I know I can do this for you guys. I just wanted it on my resume. I wanted something on my resume that I'd worked at a marketing company.
That's awesome.
So
good idea too.
It worked out. I got an interview and they did hire me.
Right.
And so then I'm working there and they do a lot of design stuff for a variety of clients in the area. And I started taking some of the projects home with me at night and I taught myself all of the design programs. I taught myself Photoshop, Illustrator, everything. And then I would work on these projects without them even knowing.
Well, yeah, because you don't do shit when you're a receptionist. So you've got all day to do anything you want, basically.
Exactly.
As long as you answer the phone and get the FedEx packages and all that crap.
And no one called us. It was very boring. Yeah. So I...
you're basically the door guard. Door guard.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, my boss smoked weed all day. So he didn't know what's going on.
Awesome.
So
I can't wait till I can do weed.
So
I got a federal job, so it's illegal. So.
Oh, darn. Well, give it 5 years. It'll be legal everywhere.
Well, I just need to quit, I think. Eventually.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You can do that too.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, you keep derailing me, Jeff. Jesus.
I do. I know. Sorry.
I'm kidding.
I know.
So I was.
So you're learning all these programs.
Yeah. And so then I got good enough to the point where I did feel confident enough. I went to my boss. I was like, listen, I saw this project and I did it. And it was a business card for a limousine company.
Wow.
And I showed it to him and he was like, I didn't know
awesome.
you could do this.
Yeah.
He was like, I had no idea. And then he gave me a job as a designer for them.
That's
so I went
awesome.
from receptionist to designer and
Just like that.
worked there. Yeah, it was, I mean, thank
But
God he
that's
smoked
ballsy,
weed, right?
though.
Because he was like,
That's like huge cojones right there, what you did. I like that.
I think my cojones are much smaller now. But I think I used to have, I did.
But that's good, though. It's good.
I just have always
I think
had
that's
this,
all that
pride.
like travel that you did when you were a kid.
Quite possible. Although I also, though, when I was in 5th grade, I had an extremely successful lemonade stand, like wildly successful.
Okay. So you
I
had
think I
you had
this,
the
like,
bug.
Weird.
You had the bug.
I think my mom is a self-starter. She started her own design company as well. I watched her put herself through college. So like, I think just being exposed to that really as a kid opened my mind that like, I literally can do anything as long as I'm willing to work for it.
Right. Well, that's a good lesson. So you got lucky on that. So that's good.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm lucky that my boss smoked a lot of weed and ran a really bad business because he was just like, okay, you can just be a designer. So I started working there. I worked there for like 6 months and I learned the ins and outs of like client management, and then I quit because he was a terrible boss and ended up taking some of the clients with me.
Wow.
Which was probably not the nicest thing to do.
That's not the ethical thing to do.
Right. It's
but
not
people
the
do
ethical
it all
thing
the
to
time.
do. But I mean, I was at this company where I was watching this guy literally, like, rather than take care of people's stuff, smoke weed all day long, and it was kind of like they were having to wait. It
wasn't even sativa, was it? It was the other kind.
No, it was real, and he was doing it like in the office, and like weed's great, that's fine if you want to smoke weed, but like while people are waiting on stuff from you, take care of your responsibilities first. And so I kind of went to these companies, and I was like, listen. I know you've been working with our firm for a while. I'm going to go do my own thing. I also had the boss, we had like a really big falling out, and I obviously undercut him and was like, I can do it for a lot cheaper. And
of course.
And they were all, because I had developed the relationships with them,
right.
Like they were used to seeing my face. And so then they were like, okay, I guess like it's cheaper and same person working on it. Sure.
Right. Why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah. And so then I started freelancing with a really good client base, like with like 5 clients.
Nice.
And
you have no expenses because you're 20 and you're living in like a 1-bedroom place or something.
I was living in my boyfriend's parents' basement at the time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So your rent is like nothing, or
it's nothing.
200 or something.
It was like the most miserable time of my life, but yeah.
Okay. But you survived.
I did survive. So that was, and it just kind of gave me a nice starting point, and it reinforced the idea like, oh, if I just go ask for stuff and tell people I want to do stuff, they'll just let me do it,
See, I had none of that.
Okay.
I was like, when I was a kid, I had like, I was like I was smart-ish, right? So I got lucky because I had a lot of like, I was always kind of like type B, right? So I didn't want to go to like do things that, I'll give you a good story, exemplar of my very young self. So I think I was like 6 or 7 or 8, whenever you can join Cub Scouts. So really young, like elementary school young. And my mom coerced me to go to a Cub Scout meeting, right? To join up, right? With my brother's Cub Scout shirt. And first day, somebody comes and like hands me this book and gives me all this work to do, right? And I'm like, yeah, okay, you can talk about it, but I'm not doing any of that crap. I'm just here because my mom made me. I won't be back.
I mean, hey, I get it. I felt the same way about Girl Scouts. I was not into that.
Just work. This is work. I don't see why people want to do work when it's supposed to be fun. That was anyway. So that was very young, right?
Yeah.
So now I somewhere along the line got a work ethic that was really strong. That helped me out.
I was in
the military and I worked my ass off. So
probably
it came later. No,
Yeah.
it was instilled somewhere along the line. Like, I don't know when, because I had another job that I blew off too.
Hey, trust me, I've quit a lot of jobs too. I get it.
I didn't
We
even
all-
quit. I just didn't do it. So I got this job. It was sort of like supposed to be groundskeeper, snow shoveler at the church, right? But I was way too immature to like show up when it needed to be done, you know? So I could have gotten unlimited hours. I could have just gone and like done weeds, right? If I really wanted money. But all I would do is, you know, when they were yelling at me, I would go mow the lawn, right? When they were yelling at me, I would go shovel. But if no one was yelling at me, I didn't do shit.
That is crazy. I have had like a money love since I was a kid.
Yeah,
like I was like,
never
if you
got
give me an
that.
opportunity to make
Never
money,
got that.
I will do it. You know?
I didn't get money until like, I didn't understand money until almost like, I want to say like 6th grade. I have a funny story about a buddy that was a summer friend, showed up every summer. And so he lived in Indiana, but summered in my town. And I was friends with his cousin. So he became my buddy in the summer. And he shows up and he's like cool and fun. And the guy from out of town, and he's like, let's go watch a movie. And I'm like, I don't have any money. And he's like, well, I don't have enough for both of us. Go scrounge some money. Go ask your parents. And I'm like, they're not going to give me $6. But what I can do is pretend like I might have some money at home. So we were moving. This is a dumb thing that kids do. So I knew I couldn't get the money, but I wanted to hang out with the cool kid. So I was like, okay, I'll just say I might have some money at the new house, right? Because we were moving. So we went and busted into the new house. And my whole plan was just to say, oh, well, I guess I spent that money already. That was and I would get more hangout time with the cool kid, right? That was my whole plan. Thank you for laughing.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I have a daughter who is exactly like I'm learning so much about her.
So
just
then
listening to you.
I got busted by my grandpa. He busted me coming out of the house. And and all I could say was, yeah, well, I thought I had some money in there, but I didn't. And, you know, actually, that's a lie. What I did was, I had money and I want to go to a movie. And he's like, show me. So I literally reached into my pocket, pulled out nothing and put it in his hand and looked at him. What kids do. It's hilarious. And he gave me this look like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And then
That's
I just
the look I give
ride
my
away
daughter
on my
every
bike.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun? The shit that you try to pull when you're stupid and a kid.
I never did that kind of stuff, so I don't know. But my kid does it, so
See, there you go. It's not them.
was like,
it's humans.
I was
Humans trying
terrified.
to lie.
yeah. I was terrified.
I didn't intend to lie to my grandpa, right?
Okay.
It just went with it. Yeah. Original plan was, sorry, don't have money. I guess you have to go to a movie by yourself. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's interesting the difference. I've always had like a fear of authority figures since I was very young, like a deep fear. And so, and like my parents are great and I never got in trouble and they were very sweet to me. I don't know where it came from, but I think that's been, so I've always been like scared of lying and like scared of, you know, I mean, granted, when I got in high school, I smoked a lot of weed, but up until that point, I was, you know, always like on track with my grades and like being an overachiever. And just because I wanted to impress people, but also I didn't want to disappoint anyone or get in trouble, you know? So like those types of things, I just never even, I wish I could like understand that. I never did anything like that.
Yeah, the shit you find out. See, I would have never. I just learned these things in retrospect. You know, I have the memory, right, and then I just replay it, and I'm like, what was going on in my head to do something so stupid?
Yeah.
And then I
did a lot of stupid things too. They were like a
different stupid things. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up, I don't know. Do you have another 10 minutes or so?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. My husband just walked in, but he then was like, oh no, and left. So
let's talk about how you started doing comedy. because I want to make comments about my comedy experience, which was one show ever. Okay. So yeah, go ahead.
Wait, you've performed in a show?
Yeah, kinda. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's a yeah, kinda.
Okay, well, the way that I found comedy is it's kind of an interesting story. So we met around the time I was doing that project called Quality Thrives. Right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my husband and I were traveling all across the country. We're interviewing small business owners. We were trying to emphasize, because this was the time when entrepreneurship was exploding.
Right.
So there were all these people producing a lot of really crappy things, like a lot of just so much garbage.
Me
and
included.
Trying to get paid for it.
Yeah.
No, you had you were at least doing stuff. So
I'll include myself. It's okay.
We wanted to start something that emphasized the importance of quality and show.
Right,
we wanted to visually show it takes so much work to produce quality, but it's worth it in the end. But that's really as far as we thought it through. And we really thought it would catch on and that people would be motivated and inspired by it. And they weren't. And we weren't either. It got to a point where I was just why are we still doing this? I was doing 3 all-nighters a week so that I could still manage my clients. And I did this for a year so that I could still work during the day. And then I would spend an entire night and not sleep working on this project.
Yeah, that's not
and
good.
Obviously health problems developed from that. And I think problems I still have to this day, it all is from that year. So throughout this process, we ended up in New York City to do some interviews. And I've wanted to live in New York since I was a child. I never dreamed of a wedding or a family. I dreamed of my high-rise apartment. Wow. Yeah, with big windows. That's my dream. So I got to go there for a couple of months for this project and just fell in love with it. And was as soon as I was there, I was oh my God, this is where
I need to be. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but then it kind of got to a point where we were still working on the project. We ended up going back to Louisville to do more work there. And then I was so depressed in Louisville. I was just I don't want to do this project anymore. I just want to live in New York. I don't know what I was thinking. This was a terrible idea. Fortunately,
let's just kill it now. Yes.
Yeah. And that's kind of because of my depression, I was so just depressed and I wanted to just be back where I felt normal,
That means your brain's working, by the way.
Right.
When things that you are doing make you feel icky, stop doing them. Yeah.
Right.
That's what your brain's telling you. Just so you know.
Yeah. I feel I have a really long delayed reaction. My brain is telling me that.
Well,
and then
no,
I'm
it's there's this other thing that you don't want to be a wimp, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to be a quitter, right? You got all these
and if you invest a year of your life into something, and it's
that's
really
a fallacy too. The pot committed fallacy. Yes.
Exactly.
We fall into all kinds of traps. I've been there too. So don't think you're special. We've all fell in it.
Yes.
But yikes. So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I, was so depressed. I was okay, either we have to keep doing this or we stop and we go back to New York and we try to make it there. And it was one of these things. I was in my early 20s. It's do I really want to keep doing this or do I want to pursue my dream of living in New York? And so we stopped.
Yeah.
And we moved to New York.
Wow.
And it was the hardest. The process of getting an apartment in New York is insane. You have to have a perfect credit score. You have to be you have to have $5,000 just to even get in an apartment. You have to pay the broker fee, the security. It's so expensive. You have to have roommates,
Yikes.
And but we did it. We did it.
Yeah.
It took 2 months. We were living in Airbnbs for 2 months. And then finally we were able to get a place.
Wow.
And
well, that feels awesome. And it probably kind of a shitty place, but it didn't matter.
It was in the roughest part of Brooklyn that I didn't know it at the time. And then I learned later.
Oh my God, what did I do?
Yeah. And it was hard, but it was an experience that I ended up living there for 5 years. And so I still I ended up, we had to move down to Texas for family reasons. And I was just so desperate to get back to New York. I don't live in New York City now because good God, is it hard to live there? I paid.
Well, everybody left.
Yeah. 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 And I had drove a car in New York. Who does that? Dumb people.
Yeah.
I ended up paying $8,000 in parking tickets.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was
tickets, $8,000 in parking tickets.
Bought a new car with those parking tickets. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, groceries are very expensive. The whole
Everything
thing, and it's
is
just
nuts. Yeah.
It's
like
an
living in
exhausting
California
city.
anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
But worse,
yeah.
probably.
And loud, and everyone's kind of mildly angry all the time. It's a lot. So, but anyway, so while I was there, I was really flailing. My husband was going to school to become a chef, and everyone around me, I in New York, everybody has like a purpose for being there. You don't just go there to like chill. You go there because you're
You're hustling. Yes.
Exactly. And so I was like, well, what am I doing? I'm just here doing my freelance.
Right. You're
business.
not doing anything.
Exactly. So I started exploring different things throughout the city. I went to a lot of meetups. I took like origami classes. And then randomly, my husband and I, we wanted to go out one night. And so we went to this comedy show by Neil Brennan, and it's called 3 Mics. And what he does is he has 3 separate microphones. One of them, he tells one-liners. One of them, he tells long-form jokes. And then in one of them, he tells really sad, really real stories.
Neat. That's fun.
I know.
That's really fun.
And I had never been interested in comedy growing up.
Okay.
But going to see this and the way that he separated everything, I've always been a writer since I was a kid. Always been a huge writer, love writing. And I've always been very cynical. And so then I was like,
you've got tools.
When I was watching him, I was like, oh my God, this is comedy? Like, this is what I've been doing for years is comedy.
Oh, wow. Okay. Neat.
Yeah. And
so you had an aha moment at a comedy show.
Absolutely. And so I found a meetup. Yeah, I found a meetup that was having a open mic night on my birthday, on my 25th birthday.
Oh, that's kismet.
I know. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
God is telling me I have to go do this open mic.
Yeah, I mean, because on my birthday, I always like to try and do something crazy and
you
challenge
must have written a bit, right? You had to.
Of course I did.
Of course.
Yeah, I spent 2 weeks nervously sweating and writing and like
what kind of time were you shooting for? Like 5 minute bit?
Yeah. We had 5 minutes on stage. Yeah. So
that's a lot of work. And really, really hard. So I'll tell you.
Because you also have to memorize it.
I'll tell you my comedy story.
Okay.
So way back when I was at I was either 18 or 19, okay? And I was at my first Air Force base. So a lot of civilians don't know this, but they have this thing called, so in the Air Force, it's called Tops in Blue, okay? And that's like this traveling show that goes out on tour every year, right? And they go to like a ton of different Air Force bases all over the world. And they call it Tops in Blue. And they've got singing and they've got dancing. It's like this variety show. Mm-hmm. They've got an MC, they've got a stand-up comedian, they've got dancing and singing, and it's a big deal, right? Yeah. So to get on that show, you do these base level competitions and then another level of competition. And if you keep winning, you could theoretically get on that show. So the comedian Sinbad, I don't know if he's kind of old school now, right? Nobody knows him anymore. But he was in Tops in Blue and then had a career after as a comedian. Uh-huh. So stand-up comedian is a category, right? Uh-huh. So I did MC, Master of Ceremonies, the guy that just holds the mic and introduces the act. Obviously, you know what an MC is. And then stand-up, So MC, easy. It's like where I live. It's like David Letterman doing an unscripted monologue. Yeah. It's just what I live to do, right? It's like, get up there and use your raw funny for 5 minutes in between acts. I can do that every day for free. Right? Stand up? You mean I have to write something down for 3 to 5 minutes and then it has to be funny and land without... I now know why. It's the writing part, I think it would be okay. But I didn't have a test audience, right? So I would, write these jokes and they're funny to me.
That's the worst part.
Yeah, it's just I wanted to go and write down a joke and then get in front of a room full of people and say, blah, 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 blah. No. Mm-hmm. Right? Well, that's what. Yeah, that's all you can do.
You have to do open mics in New York City in order to figure that out. And it's so painful. It's so painful.
Right. Well, and then the reason why I asked you to be on this time was because you did a thing on Facebook saying, I can't write comedy anymore.
Yeah. I go through those phases constantly.
So you need to listen to, I know you don't like Tim Ferriss anymore, or maybe you do. I don't know. But But put that aside and listen to his show with Jerry Seinfeld, because Jerry will give you some really good writing tips.
Yeah. Well, and Jerry, so it's really funny. I've had a lot of people tell me that like you need to watch. I've like listened and watched everything Jerry Seinfeld does. Jerry Seinfeld is also a freak, like in the fact that like he has really something, his brain is different from other people. And so
I have that brain. See, I have the comedy brain. I know what
but his drive,
his writing
next
chops
level
are just amazing.
Well, and he literally writes every single day.
Yes.
For his career. And I don't have the time. I don't want to do that. Like that's, and so there's.
Well, he made it into a meditation. He actually got through the slog period.
Okay.
Which is, you're still in the slog period. Slog period is just a number of hours where you're learning, how much you can get away with.
Yeah.
Right. So if you commit to like a certain amount of day, 15 minutes, I'm going to write jokes, right? Mm-hmm. That would be it. You just start there. And then you say, oh, it's okay for me to write jokes for more time, but I have to do at least 15 minutes every day or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that was the takeaway that I got. But yeah, I mean, the suckiness of the writing and then I did really well and was well received as the MC guy, right? Mm-hmm. So I won that and everybody loved me. Okay.
Nice.
So then you get that performance high. You know what I'm talking about when you actually kill.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yes. And it scared the living shit out of me. I mean, yeah, I was coming down from that and saying, I don't think I can handle this. And I was 18. I said that to myself. I said, I can't handle the upside of this event. I could not emotionally handle that. I didn't know what to do with myself. I thought I was going to I couldn't sleep. It was like a day later that I felt like I was a normal person again. But I just want to, so it's like, I've never done cocaine.
I haven't either because I know I would love it.
Right. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. So I was just like, I got to put down that crack pipe.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So I let that dream go because I didn't like the upside. It was too good.
That's interesting. I feel like you're probably a person who has like a lot of natural energy. Like you're just always kind of, would you say that you're like,
but it doesn't
naturally energetic? Yeah. I am.
It's because I'm B, right? I'm a B person. So I'm constantly seeking, like, I want to get all my sleep. I eat my greens, I'm taking care of my health as a priority. So that's where the energy comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I want to go down, then I just start drinking.
That works nicely.
But yeah, I mean, I've got like things. Yeah, I am naturally energetic, but it's not an accident. It's on purpose.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Okay. Yeah, well, it's interesting because like for me, I am a massive downer. Like
really?
I think I was just born tired. Like I've always been kind of like mildly depressed and tired since I can remember. Forever. Since I was like a toddler. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I just have like, I kind of work at like a lower frequency. I feel like I need things like that high from comedy to make me feel normal, like to make me feel like I'm on the same level as like a normal person.
Okay.
So like doing this right now.
Yeah.
Talking with you and getting to kind of perform a little bit, it makes me feel normal. Whereas my day to day, I'm literally just sitting here like
judging through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of that is probably correctable on a physiological level, I would think, but I don't know.
Well,
I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a health. In addition to the Comedians for Hire podcast, I forgot to mention this earlier. I do a podcast with my sister called Eat Your Feelings.
Oh, nice.
And,
I love that.
Yeah, she's a personal trainer. I'm a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
And so the whole podcast is about trying to get me healthier. And so,
nice.
Yeah, we've been doing that for like 6 months now. So I am doing things to improve myself. naturally, I'm also just like a self-sabotager. You know, I'm also just like, as soon as I start doing better, I'm like,
no judgment.
Yeah.
It's a choice, really. You know, I can't remember when, but I mean, obviously you're on your own health journey now. So good for you. You're always on a health journey, whether it's up or down, I guess. But I had like this rich guy, I can't remember, he was a podcaster, James Altucher, right? Okay. So yeah, he's not very famous. But he was basically saying like, I've let go of the crack pipe of life. Now, all I really care about is just being healthy, and not like in a crazy way, but just eating right, you know, getting moving, you know. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty smart. It just makes everything else better. It doesn't mean you can't have a little bit of wine and you can't have a little bit of scotch or a little bit of weed, but you have to time that out. You know, it's what is your priority, you know. Once you get the money thing figured out, and then, you know, you're not really going to change the world if you're bummed.
Kind of. I don't know. I'm like sort of, my whole theory has been like, maybe I can prove to everyone that being bummed is okay. That
it's totally okay.
We're all mildly, somewhat bummed all the time.
So I went through depression. So like the clinical kind, right? It sucks. I couldn't imagine, you know, living there.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not that bad. You know, it's kind of becomes like a friend who's always there for you to drag you back down. You know.
Yeah, I think you're right though. Yeah, that's something that I never thought of was when you said you seem like a naturally upbeat, energetic type of person. So then taking me to the high is scary, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it just takes you to normal, which is scary in another kind of way.
Yeah, I will say though, and this is like a word of advice for anyone out there, because I got that high so much. I did comedy for 5 years. I got a residency at Broadway Comedy Club. So I was like, I started getting really good and getting booked on shows like 5 times a week. You know, like I was doing it.
So you're a comic.
Yeah,
you
I know.
Are a comic.
Yes, believe it or not, I'm not just like an entrepreneur who says I'm. Yeah, no, I worked really hard.
Yeah.
I dedicated a lot of my life to it, but because I got so used to that high of getting laughs,
right,
and the excitement of like, oh my God, I did good at that show. I did good for that 5 minutes.
I killed.
I'm now at a point, I'm in upstate New York where there's no comedy, and I literally don't feel excited for anything anymore. Like I feel like comedy kind of broke me in that way.
Your brain.
I got so used to, and so there's, with every good thing comes, you know, you just gotta, if you do it too much and
the blessing
rely
curse
on it too much for your mental state, I think it can be damaging.
Yes. The old crack pipe or wheatgrass shot sort of scenario. Comedy is definitely a crack pipe.
It so is. The down from it is awful.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. And when you bomb at shows, that's just like, I would just like sit at home crying for days. Everybody hates me. I'm not funny.
I'm such a piece of shit. Just kill me now. I know that one. Anyway, this has been a blast.
Yeah, for sure.
We should probably stop because we've gone too long. Okay. So talk a little bit more about whatever you want to talk about. So Mile One Creative, say that.
Yeah.
So it's mile1creative.com, right?
Yeah. So it's my graphic web design business. I do websites, I do graphic design, like branding, logos, things like that. I do marketing, so social media ads, newsletter management. I do copywriting. I do that too. So
one stop.
And I know
shop.
that I mean, that's what I've tried to kind of make myself. I have people who work with me and do like Google ad management, things like that. So, you know,
very cool.
I'm a really good option for people who, I always say I can build the fake Gucci bag of websites. So like, I can't build you a $10,000 website, but I can build you a website that could probably pass for a $10,000 website.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
For
at
like
least
a
the
good
front
price.
page.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Beautiful. And do you want to talk about any of the podcasts at all, or you got comedians for hire, or?
Yeah, I mean, with Comedians for Hire, we're kind of taking a hiatus right now because COVID and life got crazy.
Sure.
But it's a really fun podcast, and
it is.
And anyone out there who just wants
to
laugh,
out. It's funny.
Yeah. And my co-host is what does that. I'm like, I just sit there and like laugh at her jokes, but she's an amazing co-host, super funny. She's lots of energy, a lot of fun. So yeah, go check that out if you want some laughs. And
what's the other podcast? Oh, the other podcast is the health one. Is that
yeah, it's called Eat Your Feelings.
Eat Your Feelings.
And we just kind of get real about health. So my sister offers advice to me and then I reject it. And then we kind of go back and forth. Right. And that's like the whole spiel. And then I eventually try it and realize, oh, she was actually right all along. And,
yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. Perfect. This has been awesome. Thank you. Come be my co-host any day.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
This has been a lot of fun. All right. So let's say goodbye. I will talk to you soon. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.